Goshon Dorjee, Wenzhou Zendo, Bangden Zawei, Lama Rinpo, Daso Ningara Benmin Denshu La, Gaden Qinbei Guonen, Chodang Tuimo Wenzhou Zendo Si, Bangden Zawei, Lama Rinpo, Daso Ningara Benmin Denshu La, Gaden Qinbei Changzhou Ningbi Bado Denpa Zhu Ma San Jume Xera Maru Ma Je Manga Namge Ngowu Sozo Rari Yixie Juyu Tuzon Jebe Yumla Shartse Lo Deyang Ta Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhisattva Soha Dea ta gade para sangha bodhiya sowa dea ta gade para sangha bodhiya soha gere tongda jaju shewa da medene vejara Tenpa Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen, Geshe Gyeltsen, Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the bodhicitta motivation, which is the highest form of motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. With that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta altruistic motivation, we should participate in this Bodhisattva discourse on the perfection of samadhi or concentration. So we talk a little bit about this chapter on samadhi or samdhen, concentration, and it is in this chapter we will also be kind of discussing, if you will, exchanging self with others.
Namdo bande sim ember neva ye dingen zenje medisho ji dunzin namyin da nang ne se namdo ge namyin number yin kaya mi jung yum bo la ne la dingen zen gum go de la 나의 본거데 텔라 리스임지 텔라 리스 엠바다 땡고비 주제 됐다 대다워나 리엠베 탑스 신의 고요소 당 니시 고요소 당 제 셰베세 Jigben Dujibang Bara Shaji. Seven betabs, Debe Yondela Shaji, Shamban down. Mundabala said, Gavji Shobi, say, he has not so ye, say, Shangelo, number of Tata Hunso, Torne, Luda Sevnica, Embe, Tap them showers. Love you so, Shiru Yoandoba ye, Semne, Shile Yominju, Share the teaching Lamji, Rudap, Divaleja, Le Tambo ye, Kazaki, Lu Embala Madeba, Semi Emba, Gavi Shir, Drepanes, Drepana, Jepang Naso, never shall. Driven Jishin Shabashi, Tia Kolokor, didn't drop or no. Da departed them, but he songs. That's the embassy, not the theatre. So the big governor of Pamela of Ninja Shara said, in a no lungo share, director, and Ninja share, no lungo share, any young. Dal Miko, the Jack cut a head out, and yeah, Shabbat, Condescending boy, what the day show is. With this sim, listen the Emma Madena, and the Carsa ding in the Tomaris, that other the Carsa. The Yedelia and the Liu do daughter, what the Gangada, told to get going to share that didn't think is the Druida share. Didn't Liu the Gubama Shera Liu said, and Shila Sung said, today I love your lens. When they tell us, Tiwa will love Shukshable, today some of Corona. Said that there's on that other Delia, and the thing is the indication what he said, on that did that.
So we are on page 101 of this English translation of the Bodhisattva Guide by Stephen Batchelors. And we pretty much just began a chapter on samadhi or concentration, samden or tingijin in Tibetan. As Geshe explained, that the opening stanza that we already talked about last time tells us that having developed joyfulness, chindu, in practices such as generosity, ethics, patience, and so forth, because it's through these practices we primarily accumulate merit, sanam, or punya. It is essential for us to develop samadhi or concentration. So we will explore this importance as the explanation progresses. And in order to develop samadhi or samden, Tenzin, it is important for us to, how should I say, avoid, if you will, unfavorable conditions that prevent us from developing concentration. And it is in this regard we talk about the need to isolate ourselves physically from the hustle and bustles of life activities, and it's important for us to isolate our mind from many what are called disturbing conceptions or all kinds of thoughts processes. So as Geshe explained, what is included in this, especially isolating our mind from all kinds of conceptions of thought, is the need for us to, how should I say, detach, or in other words, work with our attachments towards our dear and near ones. This is how we naturally are, right? We are attached to our family, friends, relatives, and people who are close to us. And we dislike and we hate those who we might call enemies, right? And so this is how our mind is usually distracted or disturbed by attachment to the loved ones and disliking and hating the enemies, and then the indifference towards the strangers. So it's important for us to be able to, how should I say, if you will, withdraw our mind from such attachment and anger or hatred and indifference, so that we are able to cultivate samadhi or Tenzin.
lam gungen de gewa karjina ani hine mado gaje be lo mo kale jawa de hine to gaje chudu jexil kale jawa ni de be top jo shenu ji wa shego wa a sheda de hine ke che bo she da de ni hine de da je de bo she da je bo she bo de she ya chiwa da de karza de chiwa chamo da gom no ni hine de ya Nyamar ten fashion na jer mo ko hila ko di pe sebo do tak da ko nganzo tingsa ta na hi pe nyams le to ya de se shi de yu sa ma ra yo ma si do o jer mo ko na so mo ro o se de te re da jer mo se tu mo hila ko di ni hira la je se mo ka si ya ko so se te re da hini do go ya de ko gewa top she ati pe na nganzo de se do so jo ji da le ne te no se jo top she bo ji she te la ta ba me de ni so go ris si wo ro de do ni pe ne do de le ba wa de ko hera top she bo ji she any thing is ni go ra any thing is de me da de she go da la ba ja de so de che yug de na e ko 처음에 거는 세보이는 다 등단로 라바자 세마라마도 셰프는 저 저도 처음에 이제 라바자는 그 누바샤도야 통마로 세보여로 저도 라바가야 돼 땡인지 줘야 돼요 다 키라 거래야 보여 저 그 송리신이 도고 제가 속으로 따디 송리고 그래서 내가 나게 애니 힘좀 주게나야 따르러 락자 놓고 찍세 애니 뒤쪽에 뽕바디 벨 servo tempo 그거 그랬어. 다른 놈은 식지에서 말아. 애니야 뽕반 놈은 매 가서 놈은 매 셔냐. 애니 생겨야 다다지 기와다지 시는 식지에서 말아. 그래서 즉 시사적을 봐 내가 시도하지 그거라. 어디에 신라 숨리고야 저자 들으시리 그래서 신라 숨리 계셔 보시면서 그다디 등산대 신라 숨리다 힘이 조카고 그래서 Hini said do that. Is it musical mutu the Doya Motochil? There's the Gomyasha, there's the Gomsha, the Hini Doya Marwa. She's a lost Guni as a code mutu the Gomguaja. She's a tis on the Hini do the cover. Hini do go out, you did what did it. Or the Hini case of Shusha. Because Tavato, that time the Chavato, Shila Suri was Toya Marwa.
So as Geshe explained, in this chapter on samadhi or concentration or Tenzin, meditative absorption, we will be talking about the essentiality of cultivating shamatha or calm abiding or mental quiescence, shine in Tibetan, and also combining or integrating that with special insight or lakdom, vipassana. So whether we are seeking nirvana, freedom from samsara, or we are seeking Buddhahood, enlightenment for the sake of everybody, integration of shamatha and vipassana, or calm abiding and special insight is not just important, but is essential. Without this integrated path, we will not succeed to free ourselves from samsara or to achieve enlightenment. And as Geshe explained, before Rinpoche, behind me, watching me there, Lama Tsongkhapa came to the scene, so to speak, in Tibet. There did not seem to be a very explicit, clear explanation about, certain things relating to cultivating calm abiding or shamatha. Many confused what we call subtle dullness, jingvatamo, as if they have attained calm abiding or shamatha. They were not able to identify precisely, what subtle, dullness is. That is an obstacle to cultivating shamatha or shine. But Rinpoche explained that very clearly. Actually, he himself talks about this in his works. And so as you may recall, that in the context of great Lamrim Chemo, great treatises on the stage of the path enlightenment, Lama Tsongkhapa comes so very clearly in terms of what are the obstacles that we must get rid of, to achieve calm abiding and also to achieve special insight and so forth. So these two things are much together and very important. And Geshe has provided two examples to demonstrate or illustrate this point. The first example is if we want to really perceive a visible form in a darkness, right, so to speak, what do we need? We need very bright lamp, right? In old Tibet, we didn't have electricity, so we talk about butter lamp. The butter lamp has to be bright enough that it can illuminate the form that you would like to see. But at the same time, and that butter light should not be, disturbed by wind or anything like that, because then the flame flutters and you won't be able to see the object of the form very clearly, isn't it? So we have to have a very bright butter lamp, but the flame of the butter lamp should also be very stable, right? It's kind of helps us to be able to clearly perceive or see the form. So like that, we need calm abiding to be able to have stability of the mind so that we can focus on anything our practice that we are doing. But we also need special insight to be able to penetrate whatever the focus is, to understand that. So it's not just enough to have stability of the mind, calm abiding, but also need the insight into a phenomenon or practice or whatever you focus on. The another example given is that of a woodcutter. You know, a woodcutter needs a very sharp axe, right, to cut the wood. But it's not enough just to have a sharp axe that cuts the wood, but he must also have a very strong arm, a very firm arm, that when we hit the wood, he's hitting on the same spot so that you can easily cut it, right? You're not going to hit here, there, over there, there, right? Then you never cut it, right? And so he needs that stability and strong arm and also a sharp axe to be able to cut the wood. Like that, we also need shamatha, shine, calm abiding, to have the stability of the mind, single-pointed concentration of the mind, and we also need special insight, vipassana, to be able to perceive reality as it is.
Nipa jeva sheva ni jigde ponga ta namso ponga tangpo la she jigde ponga gobi jitsen na simshe jigde la shabo ponga ta she nu je jigde la choba seva ponga the pound emba demba jinju los o da di jeva sheva de saji do shire do jigde pongo juten said the no sheba de dogo that juten she the no sim jigde la shawa bongas simjin jigde de kanji sogden ya sha juno sha the simjin sha ni ro the simjin sha shawa bogo juten she ni so si nieba ko de ro o jigde pongo then sewa ponga paune embate zilo so that he was paune la lente karta so any embate no gomja so this was it there is a shine gongo gizero da shine maguna chedo ko kazero shedena neba do zeta tonto marwa chede tarba tamji kardi togo na la shine shilal sunji togo wa chede disoza di gizen se da jide pongo jide se tiri khachidang se tiri khasa and lamdo nazo se tiri wa se de shabashi ene jewa shi siba shabashi e dashi da bige roji di se tiri pongo ya kaje sajag shabashi di se nganzo khasa lamdo nazo se de jibari se de she da sajag shi nganzo da said no shema da khoa shema ni jek di shene je de som shero saja khoa said no shema kha shene ni sheba shide se sharo o je ti ro da ti se da chida ja gorsa de khari se da in the year se cuz the no simple shaba jik she ni so se shaba ni year se wata tibango di ni ga bango ro ta de ba de ni ji wo bang shan de ma yang tin je zhou de da en lam nyam slen se ro wo de ta ti she wo de so
something I left from the previous explanation as part of why it is important to cultivate shine, shamatha, calm abiding, and also special insight vipassana, is these paths really bring power to our practice, isn't it? When we don't have shine, calm abiding, we could be practicing for many years, but we feel like I'm not making much progress, right? But if we have real calm abiding or shine, then you could be practicing 1 hour, but the productivity and the success you have in 1 hour seems to be equal to many years of practice without calm abiding. So this is why shine, shamatha, and vipassana, special insight, they really bring power to the effectiveness of our practice. So this is why we need to cultivate them. And so to cultivate them, we have to isolate ourselves physically from hustle and bustle of life, and mentally from all kinds of, American expression, crazy thoughts, disturbing conceptions. So as Geshe explained more, that samadhi or concentration is presented first very briefly and then very extensively. Now we're going into the extensive presentation of samadhi or concentration. So this involves 4 different outlines or the points, if you will. And the things Geshe just explained is that in order for us to cultivate samadhi, we have to deal with our attachment to what we call external things and attachment to sentient beings, if you will. Yeah? That when we are busy being attached to external material possessions, right, rewards and the fames and the gifts and all kinds of things, that is a distraction for developing samadhi. And also when we are very attached to sentient beings, right, and then that's also a distraction for cultivating samadhi or concentration. So we need to deal with our clinging and attachment to both external and internal things. And as Geshe said, that in the Sakya tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, they talk about 4 types of detachment, Shenpa Shidel, right? Which is like, don't get attached to this life, right? That's a detachment. Yeah? And don't get attached to, let me see, yeah, if you get attached to this life, you are not a Dharma practitioner, right? And if you're attached to your selfish interests and motives, right, then you will not have bodhicitta or altruism, right? And then if you're attached to the samsara, well, then forget about renunciation or getting out of samsara.
Shenpa Shidede. Shenpa Shidede. Tsendele kena Shewa mesi. Koa kena karta Nyenjung mesi. Ite Dagdongle kena Shansi mesi. Ini kare Til kena Dawa mesi jaro.
And then if you have a grasping or distorted view, then you don't realize the perfect view or the correct view. Okay? So these are the 4 detachments Sakya tradition talk about. So all of these things are basically telling us that we really need to let go attachment and clinging, right, to things. Now in the Gelugpa tradition, if you will, Lama Tsongkhapa talks about Lamsum Namsum, the 3 principal paths, isn't it? The renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom gone beyond. And why we have 3 and they have 4, if you're wondering, it's just a matter of classifications, isn't it? Lama Tsongkhapa has combined the attachment to this life and attachment to samsara as one, right? Whereas in the Sakya tradition, they split it up, isn't it? So you have 4 there. It's a matter of a classification, but we are all talking about the same thing. We really need to let go attachment or clinging. Otherwise, we cannot develop samadhi or concentration.
Oh, there is Jerry Muchida, Sumsha, Sajazu Shisha, the Dirisa Garsa. Jerry Muchid said, Del Shembati, Don Yomarava, said the call Sivacha is down in the. She said, the Shembama, the call Nushkia Yomarava. She said, the Lord Domo, the call Shebat Mountain said, the Shebat Nil Bango. She had called Lord Martin, you didn't raise it. The Sajat had this. Said the Hebangel Bongo, who teach that Tangashi Tandoa.
So once again, Geshe it clarified why Lama Tsongkhapa talks about 3 principal paths. What in the Sakya tradition we have 4 types of detachment. Lama Tsongkhapa talks about the need to renounce or let go attachment to samsara, right? But in order to be able to do that, first we have to let go attachment to this life. Without letting go attachment to this life, how can we ever let go attachment to the samsara? So letting go attachment to samsara subsumes letting go attachment to this life. That comes first, isn't it? In the Sakya tradition, they kind of spell it out, what you need to do first. They said, well, you know, don't get attached to this life. You have to let go of that. Otherwise, you are not a Dharma practitioner, isn't it? And then you have to let go attachment to samsara. Otherwise, you will never have renunciation, right? And then you have to let go your attachment to your selfishness, selfish motive. Otherwise, you will never become an altruistic bodhisattva. And then you have to let go your distorted view. Otherwise, you will never have your correct view, isn't it? So it's a matter of a classification, but both Lama Tsongkhapa and what is said in the Sakya tradition come on the same thing, that we have to let go our attachment to, all kinds of things.
Gaden mebon yune da gawa ngombar kembe se angi no simje no angi se no simje la shabe sherdan shini ningur da sola rad sibene Gaden chemba mebonte tini Gaden mebon de Juma, Gaden la Shajing, Sibi Jim be so. Tewana, Simson shop at up Niji Karza, Pona, Panya Jim. Sidapona, Panya Jis, Dolan Kevi, Lodu than Debes, Tamata, Change Geneva de Ranjula Denes, and Jeva Sham, Taji Jeva Show, she, Shave Jubon, Damo, started Damo, and no Simpson Shawada, she, because Ningul Nira Shabodi, the bong where the Damia, the series, that he saw the Karzan of the Namdi that the girls at the Kazi, not a million Zamatation, and the Ganzi that get there. Rajin the Keo to the Shadon of Jay, do you see the teachers? So the Shadon the Keo to Joe, she has a Shadon in Bongo. The Shadon point upon the country is and the Shadon did that this word. The Shamla Mapon to the hearing is what. Shamla Bonzi here, now he said, any Penyamo Guna, Dame Guna, Rajin the Bonda, the Shamli, she was there. What did I share with Zeda? Nearly as because she near Druvala said that the shadow in the bone was that the Tando the Shakbat there, so she said the bone was that the bone to get the old hearings. And Shadow Jay, Judo, the name other in the material is, which says that the boy at the damn gains, the Bonda Bonu, the Shamni cheerings, or this word.
So the stanza 2, which we talked about, reads, but through solitude of body and mind, no distractions will occur. Therefore, I should forsake the worldly life and completely discard distorted conceptions. So we already talked about that. The next stanza, which Geshe explained, reads, worldly life is not forsaken because of attachment to people, and due to craving for material gain and the like. Therefore, I should entirely forsake these things, for this is the way in which the wise behave, unquote. So as Geshe explained, that for any of us to develop shamatha, calm abiding mental quiescence, or shina in Tibetan, we have to learn to sort of let go attachment and hatred. And of these two things, attachment is what's talked about here first. And so as we mentioned earlier, we are attached to external things, material possessions, name and fame, and all of the above, right? Gifts and rewards and all of that. We are attached to people. We are attached to sentient beings, you know. So these attachments need to be kind of dealt with. Otherwise, we cannot develop shamatha or calm abiding. But what brings these attachments within us, if you ask? Deep down, there are deeper causes, if you will. We have what is called, grasping at self and grasping at mind, isn't it? So these graspings, they are the sources of this attachment and hatred we experience towards, others. And we need to uproot these graspings. Of course, how to do that, method or the practice will be explained later. The antidotes to do that will be explained, and we should practice it accordingly if you want to let go graspings at self and mind.
Nienpo de kanshe ne, shingo de cheki sem, gewe mikwa la zai chek de nebe, tenyin zengi topji, shinshan yi dewan zhenenbi shine dang, teta bi shine je gyule shongshin, teta songdun zewe na, ana shine rabdu ndenbe lakdong de, chue namji te kona yi she dawa shendi, lakbar tongye, she rab, cheba jenye, Nilu Tong Cheba Shebes, Togji, Shinjan Jenubes, Lagdong Gi, Kamsong Ji Muba, Savunda, Savu Pasadang Cheba, Tataba, Nabajab She Nubi, Niboguni Timbes, Tinimber Sheva Shene, Shaxi Sauce, Numubo Debes. Tomara Lagdong Tiniji, Tendichewe, Shini Sengi Sama, Shini Sengi Sama, Zao Shagode, Bangsa Nimu Jobala, Nibu Lagdong Go, Te Diden Shini Go, Kanshi, Toma Shini, Hila Sadu Jobe, Tse, Shini Mundu Madopar, Lagdo Jemesibe, so she Tini Korun Yebe, Sui Zo Tendos, or did that Bonsaba Nemo Wait, Hila Sunju Gonguris, Hila Sunju Gongla, nearly Shine Gongurimoto, Tanda Lamelo, Giors, the Machine, to the Mawada, that Tibashi Caution, Hila in the English Shine Togomoto, and the Shini to Yum Todo Yom, Shine won't talk with Jorva. Not Lamelo in the Hila, Davis Toya Joa, but then we do Marceda. The Shine didn't talk with this. Said that is the neighbor to go by the Shine to go with this. No, this sorry. You move on, this Casa. Tell them soon in Jews, Shine Yangani, not the Shine Tone, any Tigan and Shine talked to the Shine, because Lado Gomamato Jelia, regret Java should have Shine Toya Marsa. Not Lamilla Mato Yamari. Said that is on the Shine drop. Any Tini Lagdon to Gurova. Said that Shine did the Marmento Mayor Lunkaya to Shine Derava. That Marmot or Sevoya, the hero says, the Koyi Marmot Sevo share. And the never see Lumina, and the could never to Shazan Tongo. This is the Mumbaga Seta, said the Hila Sunju Goya, Guzenda, Teresa. Hila Sunju is Goris. Madojil, and that the Gizaba, the Shime about this is me, Tibobo Nima said, Sigur said, Damesa, the Madonna, Tagas called by Niman Javatani, Chizan and Kodoto, Mako Shime of Togo, Sigur. Oh, dear.
Lamel again, the Carsamik said the Cheba Cheto Gishine to Gursuma Shula.
Well, Lamel, this word. Cheda Nong because so Julia, big beb need to Chavajin user. Tell any Chavashina, Timino, Hilasu, Yamdo Tara user. Not Lamir, the Naganga Maria.
So the next stanza, number 4, reads, having understood that disturbing conceptions are completely overcome by superior insight endowed with calm abiding, first of all, I should search for calm abiding. This is achieved through the genuine joy of those unattached to worldly life, and unquote. So as Geshe explained, so what we said earlier is this, right? We have to let go attachment and hatred, right? And hatred and attachment arise from grasping at self and mind. And these graspings need to be uprooted. And how can we do that? Of course, we will talk about how to do that more later on in this chapter. But at this point, synoptically, it is stated that in order to uproot our grasping at self and mind, we have to cultivate the integrated path of shamatha and vipassana, calm abiding and special insight. That is the path, that is effective antidote to get rid of the graspings, And so that said, there is a proper order to cultivating shine, shamatha, calm abiding, and special insight or vipassana lakthong. Yeah? So first we have to cultivate calm abiding. Okay? And so once we have it, being in the state of shine, shamatha, calm abiding, now through analytical processes that we cultivate vipassana or special insight into the reality of things, isn't it? How things actually exist. Okay? So as you can see, there is an order. We need to integrate shine and lakthong, or shamatha and vipassana, but we must first cultivate shine, okay? Calm abiding. And then being in that state, then we do analysis and we can cultivate special insight. Okay. So shamatha or calm abiding is not just a single-pointed state of mind. It is a single-pointed state of mind, that is able to give rise to the pliancies of body and mind, right? And then giving rise to that physical pliancy, mental pliancy, and the joys associated with that. That kind of single-pointed concentration is called shine or shamatha. And special insight or vipassana is again not any kind of a wisdom. It is the wisdom that penetrates the ultimate nature of things, and this wisdom is capable of inducing again pliancies of body and mind, and the joys associated with that. And so these two paths, calm abiding and special insight, are integrated together, and this is a powerful antidote of the path that can uproot grasping at self and mind. Okay? So in a nutshell, that is what we need to do. So calm abiding is like creating the basis, is the foundation. So once you have it, being in that, then we build up, so to speak, the special insight, right? We cultivate that. There's proper sequence to that. That is a general perspective on, what must we cultivate first, calm abiding or special insight, right? But the exception to this rule is only in the Mahanuttara Yoga Tantra, the highest Yoga Tantra, where, right, due to the spatial focus and practice, by engaging in analysis, that we are able to also generate calm abiding and have the integrated path of calm abiding and shamatha and vipassana. Okay? So in the highest Yoga Tantra, the order is not necessarily the way as we said in the others. That's an exception case. With me, In the Suttarayana point of view, if you do analysis, you will never have calm abiding. Okay? Because calm abiding, again, I think I forgot to translate from another explanation. These days, it's difficult to cultivate shamatha or shine. Why? Because it requires continuous, persistent practice to get it. Until you have a shine, you cannot stop your practice. Yeah, that means once you begin your practice for shine, calm abiding, until you have it, you must continuously, uninterruptedly do it, and then once you have it, isn't it? But if you practice here, off, on, yes, no, all that, right, then it never can lead to the shine. Yeah? And so that's why it is difficult, seems like these days, people who are bent upon doing that kind of dedication there until you have shine.
Tibetan lakdong gyurjewe hini dingin deya deya ne chinang jigden la shakwa mejing samde gomo ngoma gaye ndobjes shenjene mayinde jigden shakwa ne sem shingu so dingin zin ji midi sho oje ondu dowe so o tiri da cheza tanda de Something that Hila Sundukova Karis or did Gungori, did that with the Hila Gun Karis, Shino, Chogu, Dakade, Shawishino, no Simjin Shawada, any Karsa, she move Shawa or Timbongu, Dima Boba, in the something to Yayo Maris or this order. Mind there, Jidel Shawa, the same she was doing the Medusha Bish, that Shawa too, that. Hineka's Shaba, the Guva said, Shaba Shawara, Choa Gaga Guva Shawamari, Hineka's Guva said, Deja Shawara, Conduja Dushawata, or Tesa, Shugo to the Gunguru, said that this was a Judesha was Shugo, so thing is the Midusho, the old Sheros, or this was the Jojo Kora, Jiwa Karsa. Sinji Shivani. Lodo for Mexican this, Chamalan Timenis, said I still change what they think the woman in the Gomjo Katajana saw and I almost got that. For what do you do the tail that chill with that Disaluna, Cataluna, Malo de Lugar was because I had you in a quite jobs in me a charter. This is what.
So in order to uproot grasping at self and mind, which gives rise to all kinds of afflictive emotions or kleshas, towards everything, we have to cultivate the integrated path of shamatha and vipassana, calm abiding, especially inside. To be able to do that, we have to learn to let go attachment to external material things, gifts, rewards, fame, name, all of the above, and attachment to people and sentient beings. Yeah? Because attachment is an obstacle to cultivate shamatha. Why? Shamatha is defined as a single-pointed state of mind that's free of laxity and excitement that can induce the pliancies of the body and mind, giving rise to the joyful state, isn't it? And the excitement, gopa in Tibetan, is nothing but its attachment. Like when you attach to external things or sentient beings, it is excitement, it's a distraction. Okay, so that's why we have to let go such attachment in order to cultivate shamatha or shine. Otherwise, our practice as we doesn't seem to be making much of a progress or productive, isn't it? Even if we do practice for a long time. And it is, as Geshe quoted from his memory, some other texts, the example given is like that. If we don't bring mindfulness and introspection into our practice, Tenzin, then our practice is like a leaky pot. We keep putting something in, water, but the pot has had a leak at the bottom. It just keeps going out. Nothing is getting accumulated here, right? You know you put it in, then it went out. Okay? So that's the leaky pot state. So we need to to cultivate calm abiding, right, that requires mindfulness introspection so that our practice gets filled in, so to speak. And so that's important to be kept in the mind. And something again, as Geshe explained too much, sometimes I forget to translate right away. Something he said earlier is like when we talk about the need to be in the state of calm abiding and then through analytical processes cultivate special insight, vipassana, right, into the reality of things, we have to talk about, right, identifying the object of negation. Okay? It's not enough just that I love, special insight. I want it. No, the love has nothing to do with it. We have to know, in order to be able to realize the ultimate nature of things, we have to know how, in what way it does not exist, isn't it? We have to know the intrinsicness that doesn't exist, but yet, right, we are grasping at it. So it's important for us to be able to identify that so that we can eliminate that and we are able to cultivate the special insight.
Shini Simchi Bavos, Lagdon Yanta Vitawa, Shita Shul, Soto Bavo, his daughter, Shambe, Yanda Neva Latin, Simon Joshis down. Chura number Jevi, Shinita, Lagdon, Shedo, teaching the Shansa sauce, Shansa Governor sauce, the danger to Malaysia. Some girl was the judging with things the Hineta. She just told her that was up there, she was shut up, locked on to so. No, Hinela, then locked on Gewang, loved you so. Yamsha Yang, that she can do. Shiva Joshi, he's so soon, ne. Sure, Yang, that was the very long time, but not she is in but that day. They didn't. Chingu. Je menyombe mewe shine je nyamsha da debi sherab je se tana yanda be tonshi wan jurshi to ba yina pardu so divas pardu so teni ishi jebe cher samde tsula gombarcha jigden pembe nambata ishi name dewan job samde tsugi semtagna 동기 뒤기 띵 세웨 카라 나와 세왔다 이시케 케드 통화 줄 시송라 군대의 상사소를 장 신이 터와라 때네 사동 공거와 송신 어머님보다 공름 에서 Gumru some sauce, Guru Tombo Nipa Taba, Tamasum Solid, Thomas Hinet said, tell how don't go by Shela. Namala like the Shimake, he Paji Shimani, Rebai them. Then you lava the sheriff lava Rivana Jicha. Told him that was Shiva shows. Oh, that they condemned that she needed to do the carted dogs, the dog were condemned until yours. Carsa. Dog wounded so yes, that was large among your diet. Jeremy said that she needed to over the 7 Jeremy 0. That the Laudin suit that sin the kosher what is going. Wounded chicks, dog, wounded. Daughter go to Tenzo to the Gazi Jazula to the Shungo Khan to was said to go Gungo did and go days. Did a tuba Gunjo Dins, daughter Gunjo Dinsajoro. Tine Shine some Chabo, Lardon Yanta Visita Hindus, Shula Soto Dobo, he so daughters, or get the dollars. Chambese, Yanda never latene, similar sentence, George down. Shura Navaji, Shineta, Rado, Sheda, teaching this Shansa Gorin, so, Tenju Tuma, Legion, some gave me what the Taji with things the Shineta. She's a Toyanda or Radi, Shera, Ladon, the song so that the Kong the day that day, Karsa. do gundeshe in the tuber casa kunjo dinsa doje jeje dene kar dikhendu karsa sagdon na sida shedu sodo shezo doda chambe sidu jawa chambe dode gere yanda neba la dene semla senen joshida chira namba jewe cher hine tane sagdon odi kongtishe dikhendu da 상사시 고르 바바스 바다솜 ene tenju tomale jang semge mibal jejiwe dingin hineda shije tongya da bar rad jiwe hera lagdong de songso so hineda dene lagdong jewa yang labdu so nyamsha yang da shige de hiban junna junni shezo songni 초양다고 니베 롱장바 나시바 달데 데니 친구 기세 냠바 메베 안심 메냠바 메베 히네기 냠샤당 데베 헤라게스 다른 양도르 동시바 줄고케 데바 인라 파르두소야 데니 이시 데니 거사 이시 제베체 Something so much. Jigden Pembe Nambata is it now the wardrobe, something Sugi, Semdana, don't you do your teen series, can't know what so what there is your kid. Town, you're here soon. Go and read on Shangsa. Hineso Deni Ladung Gomba Songi, that the country, Tadakashi was Hine said, the Ladung Gushe. In the getting Doda, then you send it here, Kongdere, Doda did Doda Gondeda in the Kare, in the Casa Gunjo didn't say, then you Judicial Dode Jinse. That did Marshana and then loved you. She's Shawala. Pajin was another one boy. Pajin was a dear Ganga, dear Ganga, she knew how to go, she knew that this and some says you were. Not also so you check it. That lots of Jubala, and he knew what the rogue what he used it.
So what Geshe read from the extensive commentary and explained is basically, giving us the authentic original sutra sources and shastra commentary treatise sources, to substantiate the claims we made earlier that integrated path of shamatha and vipassana is needed to uproot graspings and all afflictive emotions. And we want to know what is shamatha, calm abiding. We want to know what is vipassana, spiritual insight, and how to cultivate them, right? And all of these things have been, of course, explained in sutras and shastras or commentary treatises. The reason why this is being done is, as we Tibetans have a saying, that in order to find out it's important to find out the source of the water, right? Usually the source of the water lies in the snow mountains, isn't it? It's important to go back and find the source of the water. So here it's important to find out the authentic sources of our discourses of the teachings, So it is in this regard, as Geshe explained, that two sutras I mentioned, where they talk about the nature of shamatha and vipassana and all of that. And the two sutras are Dode Gongtel, Unraveling Thought Sutra, okay? And Dode Kunchotin, Ratnakuta Sutra, or the Jewel Heap Sutra. Okay? So sutras are believed to be the words of the Buddha. These are the original teachings of the Buddha. So we authenticate our claim based upon Buddha's own words. Then we also find numerous authentic Shastras, commentary treatises by Indian masters on the sutras and these practices. For example, the great Maitreya in his Dodekyen, ornament of sutras, but Sutra Alankara, talks about the nature of calm abiding, special insight, and the need to integrate them. And similarly, we find in Shantideva's compendium of Bodhisattva training, Shiksha Samukchaya. Okay? Likewise, we find in Asanga's Bodhisattva Bhumi, the levels of Bodhisattvas. Likewise, we find in the stages of meditation, there are 3 parts, right? So stage 1, 2, 3, called Bhavana Kram. And so in that also we find the things mentioned. So what we find in all of this mention is that shamatha, shine, is defined in terms of this single-pointed concentration on virtue or positive, right? Positive focus, gewa in Tibetan. And of course, as we said earlier, shamatha is not just a single-pointed concentration. It induces pliances, the body and mind, and the joyful state and all of that. Okay? Vipassana, or special insight lakthong, is defined in terms of that which is focused on reality, ultimate reality of things, and analyzes it, penetrates into it, and that penetrative insight induces appliances of body and mind and the joyful state. Okay? So all of these things are authenticated in the sutras that we quoted earlier, Unraveling Thought Sutra, Ratnakutta Sutra, and many treatises such as the Bodhisattva Bhumi, Shiksha Samukchaya, Bhavana Krama, and Sutra Alankara.
What is it? Those Shartse, Karsa, Gomrun Le Jang, the Jiva Tada Yung, Tia Gundrele, someday getting Numumba, number Nundo, Shartse, Palin, Liver, Joba Shadow, She Sola, Gomrun Le Jang, Tia the Jiva Tada Bangja. Yuso tabi ishi juan dewe sineda tene shera gomba show shezo somba tara samde saduge tenize tebe se lado ngo jewe se tonum je se tomba gi nyumu mabi sabon pon la sami sagu tenize la tembe se shela Shela Salmon de la Tebe, Ladon Gates, Ladon Jeves, Golusami, Ge, Gomban, Yumuba, Savon de Jeba, on Shedo, that is Yumupona, that is Ali Tawa, she need drop. She need then Ladon drop. Or the Ladon, the Dashila Sundil, then in the Karchigana, this is what that. Someday Sadu Karun Dennis, then Gazo, that someday Tabu Mushitamji, Nerdo, Usamji, Somje, someday Shimas of Muisomji, there's someday Sadu Siro, with the someday Sadu Saturday, then in the Hirasuri Journey. Or the Sanjinanda, Conje Tabato in the Conje, someday Sadu Satil, Keshe or Takanji, someday Sadu, Sunday Muis at it, then Pongo or the Pongo. Nimo Pana did that, Tambo the Namslin Rembato de Redua, Tambo Hineko, Hineka Congress, and if Shavan in the jail, Chi Simjan Shavada, had now Simjan Shava, Chi, Mova Shavat, so Pongers. They bought the Hilas who reached the Namslin, Tishan India, Nimo Pongers, Power Rimbatai, Tono Gonuya lived this other. Nimo Pansapadi, some Jaya do data, Hila Surikonga, Poya, Hilam Sava Yomata, Hila Surito, and Koran Gomni Poyaro.
No. So as Geshe Amadreda explained, that in all of those sutras and the shastras we mentioned earlier, they talk about, the nature of, shamatha or calm abiding, and the nature of spiritual insight or vipassana, and that we must cultivate shamatha first, and then being in that state of shamatha, we will cultivate spiritual insight of vipassana. So all of them are on the same page, so to speak, right? And especially, as Geshe mentioned later, that in great Indian master Acharya Kamal Shil's Bhavana Kram, stages of meditation, Komrim, right? There are 3 parts of it, Komrim, Tampunyi Vasumba, first, second, and third. Also talks about the same thing. So in terms of practice, right, we have talked about this, okay? So how do we go about it? First, we want to cultivate calm abiding or shamatha. In order to do that, we have to deal with our attachment and let go our attachment to the world, external world, what gifts, rewards, material possessions, all of that, and the internal world, so to speak, the sentient beings, the people and the beings. Yeah? So without letting go such attachment, we cannot develop shamatha or calm abiding, because excitement is attachment. Attachment is excitement. Yeah, we cannot do that. So once we have shamatha, calm abiding, the good news, now being in that state, then we now cultivate special insights and vipassana through analytical processes, isn't it? So once we have the special insight, now we integrate them together. So this integrated path is the antidote to uproot all kinds of afflictive emotions or nyurmo, glaciers, isn't it? So once we have the integrated path of Shine and Lakthom, calm abiding special insight, then we basically, how should I say, cultivate more and more familiarity with this path and enhance it. There's no other path. We just enhance it on the path of seeing, on the path of meditation, and keep going, right? This is how, the practice goes. And so if we go into the details, then what we find is that development of calm abiding is associated with, the development of different stages of samadhi or concentration, something, right? This is why we talk about, the first stage of concentration, the second stage of concentration, the third stage of concentration, the preparatory stage of concentration, the first one and the second one, like that. There are 6 of them. So we call it the 6-fold, right? Something charu, 6-fold concentration. Once we have it, then we are able to have calm abiding or the shine. Okay.
What did that Karsa the Mochi Tonon Sunday Saduk Sayadi, Sunday Saduk Sanate Kanji, Sunday Tamu Karsa, Newton in Mizomi said, they got Muisam in some shit. Take a Sunday, Sumbe with you, so tell Sunday Saduk Zora, or tell them the tone tells you that. That didn't Same Sakuse, Karsa, Same Sakuse, Dere Karsa, that the Sunday Sadukana in Sumi Tamosum, Namjita Jam, Karsa, Nangata, Namjita Jam, Sumotel, Sumi Tamosum, Hotel, Same Sakuse, Kaji, Tawa Toyanda, San Diego, Kaji Yamoti, what is Same Sakuse till then, Gungota. That is charged the Parisiba to the Keva Tamis of Sosa Mazado. I did Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen did Yebo Guy go the Sami Sakuse till Pen Gumucheda, Sami Sago Tembes, Lagdon Go Jebes, Gono Sami Jes, Tomba, New Savon Cheba Poma, Shadows. All that it in Shine Gom, and the Gon Kades Gomri, Gomo go to Rimba Kade, again the Shine Gom, Lagdon Gom. Shini Shila Sungrish in the Tampa Ponza Gundapa, Tina Linji, Goma, the Banchi, do this, that we get Dutch Batoya for this Dojita, she's that one.
No. Can Samesa do the king, Karachi, magic de Janabe?
La
Samesa do the Namata University.
La Nagata, Shemi, Nagate, Namjita, Jeremy, something. Sit the papi.
Alons, Dibaja.
Here, Sumi here, sit the papi.
Same Sadu Disum Jadigo.
Some Sadugan, Sumi Tamas of Tele, Sami Sagusi, Alam Guyata, Tono Colon said, Gaga, Direct Harunji, Moto Dry.
No, son. So as we said earlier, Samden Sadhuk in Tibetan, I'm throwing the Tibetan term which is very firm. The English translation can change. I'll say something, somebody will say something. So I call it the sixfold samadhi stage. Okay, Samden Sadhuk, sixfold samadhi in a ground, if you want to call it the sa ground, then ground. So that is part of it's part of the process for developing calm abiding. And then we also talk about what's called the six uncontaminated ground, Sangme Sadhu, okay, uncontaminated. And these are associated somehow with the infinite space, infinite consciousness, and nothingness stage. And we don't talk about the peak of samsara there. So there's three stages, isn't it? Okay. So these are associated with these, formless, if you will, states. And so by cultivating these things, right? So now it depends what path you follow. If you follow the Sutrayana path, it might take eons to be able to complete your six perfections and all of that to become a Buddha, if you want, right? Or you might want to go to the nirvana instead of Buddhahood. So depending upon wherever you go, nirvana or Buddhahood, this is the way you have to go through. Okay, this is the process you have to go through. And maybe in some other practice, maybe you can speed up the practice. So the time factor is different depending upon the path and practice, but this process is involved in achieving the nirvana and enlightenment. So as Geshe explained, so maybe let's go back slowly. So in terms of practice, of these two paths, calm abiding and special insight, first we want to cultivate calm abiding. Okay? Once we have calm abiding, being in that state, we cultivate special insight. Okay? Then we integrate them. That makes sense? The integrated path, Shila Sungte, the integrated path of calm abiding special insight is the antidote to uproot afflictive emotions. Okay? And so that happens on the path of seeing and path of meditation and all of that. And so what happens in terms of getting rid of what we call afflictive emotions, first we are going to get rid of kunta, right, which are the intellectual aspects of the afflictive emotions, kunta. Okay? And then we will get rid of the lenjet, innately developed aspect of the delusions, isn't it? First we deal with intellectual aspect, then we deal with the kind of deep down, the innate aspect. So once we get rid of all the intellectual aspects and the innate aspects of the afflictive emotion, then we reach arhatship, isn't it? So now we are arhat or arhant. Okay.
Samden Sadhu de Tongse, Samden Sadhu, Samden Tamu Yedo, Samden Jingushi, Samden Jingushi. Samde Jingushi, she, Samde Jingushi, Samde the Munido Mujame, because we Kevajan, the two in la Samesa Gunit, Tito doing this, Sumita was some Jis, Muji thing, Demba was, this nature. Samde Jis, Shadows or you know. Shadows go number seven, so you then you must have something. Something like that, Mushiso, you did Taji, Jova Young, song there. Pow, low bow, passing the valley. You would die, desenum. Something they be saying, Yanda Sonju. Nam to Shauju Yanda Rab Jinsing Chimi Jewe Jojo, Dosha Heda Lasoba, Nevatam Sewa, Joy Samdin Yimbaru, London Rabdi Sung, Shedan, Dubarian, Do Dubase, Samde Jenin Deve Yonde Meba Dor, Rig the Mobile Shed, the Dingin. That is Sunday on the cars, Sunday Mujida, you did Sumid. Chidang Yamapoya Lounge, Sunday Saturday Yaga, Sumid, Sunday Saturday, 이 희락 찬용바 야고 요새고 수미도 희내 시시고로 희내 시제도 라동 쇼쇼에서 번제 님보대 쇼쇼고에서 쇼고에서 어디 장도 가지 올람고야 뒤 어디 뒤에 장도
So Geshe read the words of great Indian master Acharya Avira Pao, and so where he's talking about how we need to actually cultivate what we said the sixfold samadhi, something sadhu, okay, and that has to be integrated with special insight, and then add on to that the uncontaminated ground, same sadhu, 6 of them. And those 6 are associated with the first 3 levels of the formless realms of existence, isn't it? Infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness. Leave out the peak of samsara somewhere there. Okay, and but when we look deep into these things, the sixfold samadhi stage, right? Something started from Tibetan, because that has more of a balanced, calm, abiding, and special insight. So therefore, there seems to be more effective to deal with afflicted emotions. When it comes to the uncontaminated, what is called the sixfold samadhi, or same, sadhu, this has like a more calm, abiding prominence, more like little off balance. There's more stability and less of an insight. So therefore, right, it is relatively speaking, right, less effective to deal with afflicted emotions.
What did something you do a thing, the movies do say, Gaga Sunday then to go. Sumi movies that then do Yomara. Said that because I turned over the pictures, there's something we share. I did it.
So the actual stages of concentration relating to the sixfold samadhi are more powerful. This is where those who are interested to cultivate like miraculous powers or have clairvoyances, right? Those are cultivated based upon the actual stages of concentration relating to those sixfold ground. Miraculous powers, juju and the nguyenche, clairvoyances are not cultivated based upon the concentration associated with the infinite space and the nothingness and all of that. Okay. So we would like to stop there today and welcome your questions. First we go to online and then we come back. Oh, there's nothing there. Okay, then it is ours.
Right, thank you. I just had a quick question. Can Geshe kind of extrapolate on placement meditation? I know it's not necessarily maybe the same as Shine, but is there like a proper object that we should be placing our attention on? Like, how is that kind of related in this process?
Oh, are you talking about the levels for developing calm abiding? How is that associated, or?
Like, because we talk about samadhi, but so far as an actual practice of placing our mind on an object continuously.
Yes.
I guess how is that related, and is there like a particular object that is maybe best to place our attention on? Some teachers will say one object and like the breath or something, and another teacher will say like image of the Buddha.
Difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Quran condition the dirishak that dangazo shine dagi ngo the shine shadio kal keve mikbal ten chik sum barwa gen and the dangazo same mikbal chik ten the mikpa del ya khebar bo yor ba sarwa same big then mikpa chorwa mikbal khebar bo den yung go ba sa da kal so gore kegen damandal condition the damandal sum ro gen mikpa chik ten second mikpa ro gen because mikpa ten sa de khebar yor ba sa gen mikpa chasa chorwa shine do de
shine mikpa is shine some mikpa is the keo mari sado do the card mikpa card is keo mari this is not in the sanji ko de da 지들 미나에는 소사야다 신이가 니용거라 미시 도도 가르 미나 미고 당고까지 했는데 신은 줘야 해요 말이지.
In terms of developing or cultivating shamatha or calm abiding, any focused object will do. It can be just a pebble or a rock or a twig. It doesn't matter really. But it is recommended that we focus on an image of a Buddha or something holy, and because we get extra benefits, isn't it? When we use an image of a Buddha as our focus, we are also accumulating a lot of merit, right? Otherwise, Buddha's image does not make a difference in terms of cultivating necessarily the shamatha, right? You can have a shamatha on a rock, right, if you like. Does that answer your question? All right, right? So it depends, right? I mean, you can focus on anything you like, right? X, Y, Z to cultivate calm abiding. You will have it if you do it properly. But the recommendation is that we focus on something positive, right? A Buddha's image or something, so that we accumulate merit as well, right? Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Geshe. My question is, if Shine and Vipassana are the antidotes to the afflictive emotions, but the afflictive emotions are obstacles to achieving Shine and Shamatha, how should we reduce it enough to be able to achieve Shine? What kind of practices would Geshe recommend?
Sure. lam digi ene karso korata nyomo ginya buchakar sumborwage ine ale shila sungre lam nyenye bodo nyomo kora nyokra chade yorwage parje chade yorwa cheta ane nyomo dige di ma shinel hakdon rubele gek mache chedrwage nyomo dige de nyamdo khandes cheta ko rwage digu ore sarwage nyomo ko pandu thugu marwage ine nyomo digi ko parche mayo chedo nyomo de ma nyuru khandes tangura shine rube chedrwage odisudge kin sense oge 가서 나한테 실라선데 그 띵에 젠디 녀모 녀모를 와게 그 녀모 여나다 다시들레로 알고 그 녀모 말랭에네 녀모 녀로 그거 와게 녀모 그 룹주고 말와게 저 녀모도 마 뇽으로 당당하러 들어와게 발제 마에 삼로 가르다 여기서 냠내 가르쳐요
냠내 사데다 진짜 신이 거라 군디서 공사 다다 그래서 신진주도 쇼다 봐서 네다 고메 유도 가서 삼어 채워다 조조 되다 샤당도 저와 세다 제시다 단다다 가서 당연히 치해서 가서 마음에 세버제다 이놈 이거 저러 세다 소세버 단도나 세다 마음에 세버제다 받다 애네 롱메 니 소고리스 그걸 마음에 세버이나 롱이나야 마음에 네바데 간가 롱 좀 해서 편서고 말아 세다 세다 숨지고야 되러와 어때야 윤토되네 그게 세대는 뭐도 니모 매어서 뭐 람산 거 카드 거 그게 제마도만 히르세 람사들이 소요 말이지 지니코 거사디 저왔다 말이지
자 간제 간게 그 저와되게 단다 경기 빼대 잔데서 게 마음에 세버지다 대보 용야라 아래 단다게 녀목 녀로 그거 와게 제가 녀라데 마 녀로 따지러 와게 그 대보 소다라부데 간에 냠내 가르쳐서
소다다 되게 치다 도사리요 거사 너 심지어 잡아 보면 이제 치
어디게 뽕다되게 잡아 뽕어도 소로 와게 다 잡아도
제가 뽕어들 다들 이거다 뭐 사당 뭐는 시스템이야 자라자라바베 따다 야버려요 말아 좀 뭐여라 내가 다시 주자라데 고야 그거데 이제 주자라 걸어다다 뭐서 우리 제가 배 소소자 시기를 제가 주자라게 소소셔야 되는 뭐여라 봐 제가 타지고 야 이데스가요 말아 세다 진짜 그 좀 따게 세나 이 콜 샤와 슝슈 저거라 샤와 슝슈 저 튀제 로디 야야 저세 인티자 칼레칼레야 차사 나사 저세네 야 공고리 뭐 그럼저야 저도 저야 와르시
Okay, so now I think we're getting somewhere. You might get. So what we said earlier is that, first we cultivate Shine, calm abiding, then being in that state, we cultivate Vipassana, special insight, then we have this integrated path, which is the antidote to uproot afflicting emotions. So your question is, before we get there, what can we do with, how do we deal with afflicting emotions so that they don't become obstacle for cultivating it? Yeah. So what Geshe said is that, of course, this is a process where earlier we talked about the need to kind of let go our attachment to external things, gifts, fame, name, rewards, and attachment to the internal things, meaning people and sentient beings, isn't it? And so one of the ways to do that is as we reflect on the demerits or disadvantages of being attached, right? Then slowly, right, as our mind gets used to that, seeing that, then we are able to bring our mind more to the balanced state, you know. And it is a process. There's no quick way out to do that, you know. Yes, we all know, even as practitioners, right, we need a roof over the head, we need to eat, we need to dress, right? So we need stuff. So it's not like we don't need. But enough is enough, isn't it? And so if you don't know moderation and enough of it, then there are people who kill for the sake of wealth and fame, right? So what's the fun of that? You kill yourself to get fame and wealth, right? That's extreme case, isn't it? So we have to bring a moderation into our needs. Yes, we need food. We need to, you know, to be able to sustain our practice. But then we reflect on the disadvantages of being attached to things, right? So that slowly, as our mind gets habituated in that thinking, reflection, then we are able to, you know, offset the balance and bring more into that. Yeah. So this is how it might lead to, earlier Geshe said, the example of the butter lamp, right? The butter lamp has to have a steady flame, right? And it must also have a clear brightness, isn't it? And the steady flame is the calm abiding. The brightness to be able to see things is the special insight, right? And so all of these things will slowly lead to that. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe. Just a quick follow-up question. Yeah. You know, we explained about how to deal with it with things, but what about to people, like attachment to people? Should you just avoid the people, or you know?
Kurang this go that the gig chida nangya chakpa the adeba the dog love wage. That chi chakpa rada in the summer in the time the nangi chakpa the milia kazo that yen chakpa your wage. The courage or consuming the tokti maja pa young state or a courage or res again. Same like chakpa the pa new time to the same yam to tokti maja pa young rings or stay or a courage or res again.
But that didn't you love that Mawaya Bena. Nye dari nye di na tawari ko nye xiao marwa samji drache so ma wo che yo re in tanda drate ge nye ma phe ma wo ta yo o do si kyo de shi sam ma wo ta sa da ko do ka ka di nya ma re ma nye li ji ma ji ka di sha ge chi da sam yo marwa
no
ko rigbe ko do no te do go ro
no
tin do so ne in nye le shi da sha ba me ba da 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 ma shi da me ba sim ko ni ba le ro
Shenyan the Nyan that design to Tokti Maja like Marwage.
La, the she would make up Josh would say, you know, get Shabashi, the Juzika, Mia Carson, Kotia, Mamo, the Saramo will do Moboche, so Moboche, that is a in it, Nye, Koni, one is a Koni, change and change him. In the kingdom, there will be that we had some share, maybe so pension Kayoma. What is it?
Machine, she around with another Tokti share or Yammer, what I've ever did there. She around with the Tokti share or Yammer, and Ben Alba Judah or Rocky. Me, we got and Yam the Camden, she knew Yammer. Tokti share or Yammer. So what Geshe said is that, I mean, as you can recall from Lamrim teachings, right, discourses on spiritual path, that when we look at the relationships we have with each other, right, in samsara, friends, enemies, and strangers, our relationships are very relative and very fluctuating, isn't it? Friends become enemies, enemies become friends, they become strangers. So there is no certainty in terms of our relationships, you know. So we think about that. All sentient beings have been equally kind to us, or we could also say they have been equally nasty to us. There is no difference like why we should get more attached to our loved ones, as if they have been more kind to us. No, they have been as kind as any other beings, isn't it? When our enemy was our friend, they did the same kindness, isn't it? When our relative become an enemy, they are same nasty being, same. So in terms of nastiness and kindness, they are one and the same thing. We cannot give more credit to the loved ones because I need to be special favor. They're loved. No. Okay. So when we reflect on this, right, uncertainty and changing relationships in samsara, then we are able to bring some balance into our state of mind, isn't it? So it doesn't mean that we should not associate with them. Okay? Of course, we associate with them. It's mental state balance we bring. But then if you're actually cultivating karma abiding, you are actually physically isolated from them. You are not hanging out with them and develop karma abiding. That doesn't happen, you know.
The logging my log songs ya social ya pendor sheboshi gomo sumjas it. In lot a lot of quite never to say check. Ya Talobe gomo sumjati, a lot song could never say that. Talon never say Nimal Crefenda, Miniana. The course social condition to tell you or this is the Titan on the shade of Jumar, super required somewhat. Could you watch it over? No, she is the question.
So when we try to develop the sense of equanimity in relation to sentient beings, isn't it? This is not just based upon faith, right? You just believe in that. This is based upon reasoning, okay? That, you know, our relationship in samsara has been fluctuating and changing like anything, right? Friends become enemies, enemies become friends, strangers become friends. And this is a fact of the matter. This is not just a faith. We have to take it because Buddha said so. No, Geshe didn't say that. I just put in the footnote. So based upon reasoning, as Geshe gave one more example here, let's think about this. 3 years ago, somebody really helped you at the time of need, gave you $300, isn't it? For some reason this year, this person has harmed you. Are you with me? And then here's another person, right? I mean, who gives you $300 now, but this same person 3 years ago were nasty to you. Now, who is more kind and who is less kind to you? Think about this, right? 3 years ago, the person who is harming you now was very kind, give you $300, isn't it? But somehow it's nasty today. And today this person is so wonderful, lovey-dovey. But 3 years ago was nasty, another nasty being, right? So now who is kind and who's not kind? Like, think about that. Looks like they're same, isn't it? Okay, so that's how we try to cultivate a sense of equanimity.
So this may be a particularly unhelpful question, but and goes beyond what Geshe said, but I've been puzzled by that. Well, actually said that Geshe said that the path of seeing, when somebody attains the path of seeing, they abandon the seeds of the acquired afflictions. But what if somebody had already cultivated, even before attaining the path of seeing, cultivated samadhi and have achieved the concentration, let's say the first concentration, and they have abandoned all 9 levels of the desire realm afflictions. Well, upon achieving the path of seeing, do they abandon also only the seeds of the acquired afflictions, or do they also abandon the seeds of the innate afflictions, all the nine levels of the desire realm?
Okay. When you say 9 levels, are those like attached to the karma abiding 9 level? Or
no, 9 levels of desire realm afflictions. Afflictions. The afflictions. I'm not talking about karma abiding. So we're talking about concentration. Somebody who has more than karma abiding has a concentration. Let's say the first concentration.
Quran condition this is again. Quran take it termata remedo tanda tholam thobar wage. Tholam thob de kala ke kunta ke saben nyomo kunta ke saben pangusum bege. Rawage. Di imbe ina Quran se ko tapena tholam hado ngel ya shine thob de khangsa chigi rawage. Dinde khangsa digi ene kharso gore tanda jirwa ke ta nyomo kunta ke rawage. Nyomo de ko god yomar wes rawage. Kunta ke nyomo che rawage. Di ko na le semble jam de yomar wes rawage. Jese dinde imbe ina tholam thob de kala ya tholam thob ke ta mixe cheje di Kunta ke saben pangwa mase rawage. Lenje ke saben pang dugore di kebar che maresa.
Ale 통도 들어. 되게 가르쳐는 통마들 군다 사들 뉴모 라가 여러. 딱 봉반 뉴모들 현지에서 차 여러. 세서 차에서 뽕깔아요. 당연히 작바데 방 되네 차 방거로.
Ale di nyumo kasagin lenje ke saben komlam lo mas pang yo mas korba.
Gulum ibang la. Gulum ibang.
No.
Dachba lenje de bang dachba to bang yo mari.
and then the king and Koreshi the king Satan Madong Shine top the Kansa Digi.
되게 거다.
군다기 사면
되게 가방도 말. 돈마다 맞아 가야 봐요 말.
that 통람을 대대긴 디 신에게 제제서 말고 실라 니 딘지로 와게.
실라 순지 타고라. 되게 야라 실라 순지 사 처음 쳐보는 타고 거리.
So Geshe said the one on the path of seeing or darshan mark, Thonglam, as you said, has abandoned the seed of acquired afflictive emotions. I call it intellectual. It's not so much of the function of the calm abiding per se, but it's integrated with the special insight part, path of seeing, isn't it? Now, someone who has developed shamatha before path of seeing, couldn't get rid of the acquired seed because calm abiding doesn't do that.
I was not talking about calm abiding. I was talking about somebody who has a concentration, not calm abiding, has the first concentration.
Oh, first level of concentration.
First concentration.
Okay.
So that person, and that of course, using that first concentration, they can still integrate that first concentration with special insight and attain the path of seeing. But they have already developed first concentration, which means that they have already suppressed the 9 level of the desire realm afflictions. So my question is, upon attaining of the path of seeing, do they also abandon only the seeds of the acquired afflictions, or do they also abandon the seeds of all 9 levels of desire realm affliction, which they have previously suppressed by concentration? If that
something tangbe rowagen mushi diche mushi top sabashiro di da lakdoni rowagen sung the den rowa da tonam to yomarage something tangbe mushi top che rowagen da ko lakdon di nyam the de lakdon ke bashasha rowagen tonam to yomarage rowagen dinde kansa digi nyomo ken korku rowagen rowagen la nyomo korku rowa nyomo korku rowa Jiden 공부서 오뉴마 고르고디 파잠데.
About leaper non-returner.
Huh?
A leaper non-returner, somebody who leaps over the stage of.
Oh, non-returning, you mean?
Leaper non-returner, the technical term.
I see. Yeah. So tindig raw that dike. Ore. Di ko pangsarwe. Di pang to marwe sadi. Dinde kangsa de rawage. Something mushi top ne lakton drup degen digi tandaki chela somar jigdeng be rawage. Kombang rawage. Nyomo ko pang to marwe rawage.
Ko pang to je da pang sa de thong ma do no pang sa khaya pang yo mar ngone ta.
Jigdeng be.
아니 제대로 공부도 방거라 제대로 공부도 뉴모 방에 책 말아
아래디 녀모도 가려 녀모 무시 말어게
저 뉴모 작바시고다 대대 거서 수이나 대대 총을 동아요 대대 뉴모 방 쓰고
알레 녀모 총을 심해서 진지로게 방선에 총을 심해서 그래
다 총을 대시 신의 토서는 총을
거는 알아 방선마다 방거 말어 먼저 거는 배서
방선 방바 토고로 다 그 수제하며 그래서 방한다
다디 사탕벌로 토베도 갈라디 배고 방도 거래
다 사탕도 토마 방사다
알레 adi chuo kan sum din ala ku cha no atagi sa chuo kan sum ne ba tiga samar same cha do be ale la same la ge ma ro los to cha odi ya bu 다디 야구적에 다사 당보 탑서 나라와게 단다디 가서 괜찮은 손디 고디 배빵도 거래 I don't know some.
La.
Oh, so this, this was very helpful, right? This is such a very detailed one. Even I didn't understand everything there. Geshe was very helpful explaining that, things that are based upon the first stage of concentration, where you talk about the 9 rounds of affliction, those are not the actual afflictions being gotten rid of. Those are more like a coarse level of affliction sort of become less manifested. That's what it's called, right? But on the path of seeing, then you are able to get rid of the acquired seed of, right? That. Okay. So that's the difference.
So even for such a person, even such a person who has suppressed the manifest afflictions, the 9 levels, upon attaining the path of seeing, they still eliminate only the seeds of the acquired afflictions, even though they are non-returner. They'll never come back to the desire realm.
Yeah, some of those earlier about the 9-1, they could still persist, he said. It is not necessary that they got rid of all those 9 things.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, now another clarification I want to offer based on Geshe's help is that earlier we talked about the 6-fold samadhi, I said, right? The 6-fold samadhi. And this is to do with the preparatory stage of the first stage of concentration. Then there is the actual stage. Then there's the special stage. There's 3. Then the actual stage of the second stage, the actual stage of the third stage, actual stage of the fourth stage. That's 6, right? 6-fold samadhi. That's what we call. We didn't call them uncontaminated, but they're uncontaminated. That's the confusing part. Now, the add to that, the 3 what we call uncontaminated ground, okay, which are to do with the infinite space, infinite consciousness, and nothingness. Okay, so those, right? So that's the distinction between them. Does that make sense? Yeah.
In this regard, it was said that the 6-fold concentration, this 6 samadhi, lead to the attainment of calm abiding. But isn't it the other way around? They have to be based on calm abiding. One has to have calm abiding before that in order to attain this. Right?
Yes, that's right. The assumption is that you have calm abiding right for those, yes. So that's how I think when we add those 3, the 6 to the 3, that becomes the 9 uncontaminated samadhi. Okay.
What is the third level? The third one?
And third stage of concentration.
The third that it's not. Is there's I've heard of preparation called not unable. Is this the third one called not unable? It's uncontaminated concentration.
In the third, you mean the third stage of concentration?
Yes. No, it's not the third stage. It's out of these 6. The third one is a special one.
The first stage of concentration, this is something mijome. I call it preparatory, right? Then there's the mushi, the actual stage. Then there is the kebab or something. Then there's a special stage. This all goes with the first stage samadhi. Okay.
Okay. Well, the special stage, is this what it's called? Not unable? Is there such a thing? Is this what it is? Oh, no, yeah, that is, I call it preparatory. That's what you are saying. The third one is called, is also
yeah, that's the first stage. Yes, that I call it preparatory stage. That's right. Okay. Using different term. Yeah. The session stage the session stage what I think when you go to
Thank you, Geshe, so much for your teachings. I have a question. It's very basic compared to Vlad's, but I am wondering about, because I heard you talk about excitement, and I'm wondering about, I see connections to people and our interconnectedness and like the ways that it brings joy, the fact that our Sangha brought me here this morning, the connection I have with my daughter. We talk about Geshe, my excitement to see him. Yeah. So I wonder about those attachments, and I understand that I'll learn more, but I'm just, if he could offer any insight into that, like that I find joy, like when I see my Dharma family, yay, but, or should I just be like, hey, what's up, So I'm just wondering about that.
konzo na shinyok tsaw mesa lelar sinsa di kansan dagi ken di sungbarwa ken anzo de karsaw da chida nang chakwa de pang kansa di koba re sungbarwa ken koba den koba yona ken shine gi marla barwa ken de kan ya khorang chiwa she de da chida ngazo mi pheba cheme na so se gebe shinyi jewe na ji sem izkul sagan kabur shoro barwa ken so se pugul laga ya ko chome kabur yoro barwa ken so se dewa choto to kar kabus to wa dinde di kobe terebe maresa ke di so se ben choto to kabus ji ya mara kabud yoro di pa ka ko kar chi ko maresa ke di koba re maresa
di goba maresa te se mo da goba sa karusna da di shine ko goba sa de page de doja shawor sto gangal goba shek mari to shine ko goba sa joro te doja shawor is
단답은 소소 보고 내가 약고 차는 게 가부차에서디 여자 책을 말하고
내가 배제 도자 시작을 좀 하래.
Geshe said that the excitement and laxity we talk about in terms of calm abiding, that excitement is defined as an attachment, form of attachment. Okay. But not every thought you explain, the joy of seeing your Dharma friend or your teacher or something, your son has done something great, or daughter for that matter, that's not necessarily attachment or not necessarily excitement. That's what Geshe was saying.
Yeah. Deva yono deja yo chapsi wara. Or sekwa te chisha wara. That ya deva da deja in de ya khasha de war de chida. Deva ganga deja sekwa. Ta dajo bada. In sirmo to ganga ya se deva dire yor sigdwa. Se sandu yor. Se deja maro what is
So it is kind of tough for us to be able to differentiate between deba, desire, and dacha, attachment. Those are the terms I use. And non-Buddhists, many schools think that desire is the same as attachment, right? Every case of a desire is necessarily attachment. Yeah. Whereas in Buddhism, we make a distinction between desire and attachment, right? Every desire does not necessarily have to be attachment. And it's tough to be able to differentiate the two. So, for example, it's said that arahats, right, those who are free of samsara, they have a desire, right, they need to eat food. So they have a desire for food. But that desire is not an attachment to the food. With me? So that there's, I don't know how much sense it's making in the English one, but there is a difference between deba, I consider desire, and decha as the attachment. Okay, so they just start again. Then okay, so at this point, Carlos has some announcements to make.
Thank you. Let's step in here. Well, there's a few special announcements. In fact, I was supposed to do one, but then now it's four or five announcements that I have to make.
I'm glad you're doing it. Usually I do it. One job less.
No problem. I could do it today. All right. First one is basically we are having a Medicine Buddha puja and potluck next Sunday. Saturday, July 6th, here at the center, starting at 10:30 up until maybe 11:30. We'll do the puja, and then after that there'll be a potluck. So students are invited, to bring food. And of course, celebrate, especially as we're celebrating His Holiness's Dalai Lama's birthday on that day, and as well as the medicine puja, because he's also having knee surgery, as some of you may be aware. Currently, he's in New York, so we're also just sending out our prayers, especially at the time who was probably going through recovery. And then the other announcement is the following Sunday, which is definitely that's the Sunday, we'll be celebrating Tulku Tardo Rinpoche's birthday for that one. So we'll be doing that as well. The other announcement. All right, so.
So that's Sunday right after the Saturday. That's what we're talking about, Tutu Thalde's birthday.
So yeah, so
next Saturday, July 7th is Tutu Thalde's birthday.
It's
Oh, okay, okay.
July. We're celebrating July 14th, Tuku Tardo's birthday. July 4th.
No, July 7, right?
Is it July? Oh, so it's the 7th?
7, right? 7 to what? Oh, yeah.
Oh, so we'll do Tuku Tardo's birthday. Oh, on July 7th. Oh, okay. Thank you for the correction. Sorry.
Yeah.
So July 6th is we're celebrating His Holiness's birthday and the Medicine Puja July 6th.
Yeah.
And then July 7th is Tuku Tardo's birthday celebration.
Okay, let me translate for Geshe. The Quran this go again. Jinda Timbe Dari to Kunding the Tunga Rawage. When did the New York shop so current that shall be the Menjuka paper. The Chedanga de Shoga to Chagali and Mele Chokatami Sage. And then you go Shalanam to Cherwage. Then Timbe Tunia on the Tugutarde Tunga Wage. Tugutarde Tunga Wage. Then on the Sungja Duba de show the Cheshan de Wage. Timbe Tunia. Yes.
Okay. All right. So this other one is pretty exciting, sad and exciting. So so now, as many of you know, there is we have there's a changing of the guard, as I would say. Many of us know that we have the one who runs our center and does all the activities, the bills, and everything is the managing director, right? And currently, that position has been held by Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen, who has been here since the year 2000. In fact, he started a few weeks right before lockdown. Right before lockdown. And so, and of course, again, Lurk took on the position. And so the position of the managing director is every 2 years, although sometimes it gets extended to 4. And so another 2 years, so it's now a total of 4 years. So now, again, Lurk's position is almost ending. And so he will be leaving us in September. For September, right? During that time, and so now, of course, we have a new managing director. So that is with this monk we just saw earlier, Geshe Lobsang Jampa. So Geshe Lobsang Jampa, Geshe Lampa Jampa, sorry, is from, of course, from Shartse. He is a La Rampa Geshe. And in fact, he is actually coming from Zong Rinpoche's house, the Zong Labrang. So we are very, very fortunate to have him as a new director. In fact, I was told that, of course, he received his ordination in 2007 by His Holiness. And I was informed that even when Zong Rinpoche is away, he actually teaches the students over at the Zong Lambrang. So we are very, very fortunate to have him. So welcome. And so, of course, many of you can welcome him, talk to him. His English is good, but we definitely, of course, like most of the managing directors, it's kind of rough in the beginning, but as the months progress, it'll get better and better with us. So the other staff member that we would like to announce is on Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen. Many of us know about Kushala, but we call him, but of course his formal name is Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen. And so he has accepted the position of assistant managing director. So so both of them together will be helping.
Oh, you mean Phuntsok Gyeltsen, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Phuntsok Gyeltsen, it's a Phuntsok Gyeltsen or Wuzzer? Wuzzer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Phuntsok Wuzzer.
Because I saw another monk there. I thought you were talking about him.
Oh.
I saw another monk.
I have him on the notes. I have him on the minutes as Phuntsok Gyeltsen. Phuntsok Wuzzer. So he'll be will be assisting us. He will be as assistant managing director here at the center. So both of them are going to be here with us for the next couple of years. So we are very, very fortunate to have them both, being part of our center. So definitely welcome both of them to these positions. The other last announcement is about our dear friend and translator, Tenzin Dorjee.
What did I do?
So of course, many of you know him as our translator, and of course, I'm not sure many of you know is that he's also a professor at Cal State Fullerton. Back in 2006 when I actually started here at TDL, he was He was, of course, translating GSTDL with our founder, Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen. But it was also, and he was here on Sundays, and then he was, doing translations over the phone because he was also doing his doctorates in human communications, correct, at UC Santa Barbara. And of course, he eventually got his doctorate degree, and then I went over to Cal State Fullerton as assistant professor and then associate professor. And now we heard recently that he has now the position of full professor.
Thank you. My
So-
ego went up.
So of course, full professor means that it's the highest position in academia, and so we, the staff, the students, the board, and of course the managing director here would like to give our congratulations and of course an offering to Tenzin Dorjee.
Dirish again. Gengati Kazan Labdalia, the Nidim Rich Parson again. Other Digi, the Begins again. Delia don't long the stones again. No.
I just want to say only one or two words. So I just want to congratulate Tenzin Dorjee, the Professor Tenzin Dorjee, and this is a small, the present or the token of appreciation. So on behalf of Gaden Shartse Monastery and GSTDL community, so I just want to present this to Tenzin on this very special occasion. So thank you, Tenzin, and congratulations.
Well, we both are retiring at the same time. I'll follow you, right? He's finishing September, and maybe I'm finishing for soon too.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
A
you.
good surprise. I hope my excitement is not the excitement obstacle to come by. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, with that, let's go into our dedication prayers. Hopefully. Changjo, Simjo, Rimbo, Maje, Panam, Kejo, Kewa, Nyamba, Meba, Yang, Kone, Kong, Pewa, Sho, Lord Yazu, Utron, Pega, Kesang, Kongwe, Chudo, Mimba, Temba, Zinla, Wando, Jij, Tanyan, Chogun, Jela, Sowa. De Mawa Dame, Gunyan Donga, De Kari Jonso, Ninda says, Jamgun Jawa, Niwa Yapse, Trangson Tinzi, Mawe, Shiva, Tenzin Cheve, Yingon Zebe, Sheje, Nigun Changju, Dendu, Longdo, Tamje, Bebe, Bayun, Duja Yazu, Gundo, Shabden, Sam Konda, Cheju, Zombe, Yongzo, Yure, Tobe, Yan, Longri, Tejen, Nube, Bedemba, Tobden, Kanri, Dabo, Shab, Dona, Kongmen, Zeba, Namda, Dendan, Rove, Pende, Jumbe, Lundo, Jumi, Chebe, Chinle, Gesan, Duje, Dendo, Shabden, Sho, Chizun, Lame, Tuje, Melam, Gesan, Duje, Dendam, Zangmen, Choson, Todo, Jido, Chida, Memben, Dungun, Lundo, Sho, Ramjan, Shinge, Gombo, Tseba, Me, Zodo, Namje, Tinyun, Juma, Chojo, Tseye, Lazo, Tamje, Daden, Mishi, Chogi, Mujo, Tubden, Jida, Losan, Gawayi, Shido, Temban, Zimbe, Bayun, Tadu, Duja, Yonge, Shinyin, Cho, Yangdu, Ninje, Hongbo, Shabde, Jiden, Sumgun, Chana, Pemi, Dembe, Zawa, Sosor, Taba, Namda, Sudin, Yangda, Langba, Losan, Ganden, Bedo, Shabde, Tujun, Yajin, Nonjin, Yangbe, Samjo, Namju, Sangzin, Jumbe, Bomjun Shila Sunju Debu de Dembe Ngada Chenbo Shabde Chebe Donga Kowa Bokjo de Zebe Rilan Siyu Bumda Zunbe Tunden Leshet Kiro Xinyin Chenbo Shabden Shu Kebe Langdo Guxi Zeda Je Zunbe Tara Niezo Tauda Sangbe Yigong Yishe No Sumden Xinyin Chenbo Tesam Rolan Jawe Tende Je Menjong Tajue Sangme Sijin Labjin Zidin Tendu Peshawa Zenden Xinyin Chenbo Shabden Shosong Yawa Seje Chin Labda Tuden Damjin Songmen Chinle Taja Lasam Dabe Dembe Chedam Wenben Dungun Lundo Sho Dongye Dawa Rinpo Je Maje Banan Ji Jewa Nyamba Meba Gongne Gongdo Pewa Sho Sa Shi Bejin Jushin Medo Zhang Rira Lingxi Ninde Yenba Sangye Shindo Mede Wewa Luwen Nanda Xinla Jeba Sho Kanri Rawe Korwe Xingam De Pendan Dewa Malu Zhongbe Jere Siwan Tenzin Dorjee Shabe Sede Badu Dengyo Je Yedam Guru Radha Man Daya Min Yawa Gundo Yangda Lama Deme Chege Bela Longje Sada Lamje Yende Rabzo Doje Change Goba Nyurdo Sho